Welcome to my channel. Myself Dr. P.K. Mandal. Today we have a very interesting topic, food and health, with special reference to foods of animal origin or livestock products. So as I am an expert related to livestock products technology, so I thought we should make a comparative analysis of the foods of plant origin and animal origin. So this topic is for all the health conscious people who are little bit aware about the science of food. So I'm going to talk some of the basic aspects. What is food? What is the role of food? What is food security and food safety? How food plays important role in our health? What should be the healthy diet or balanced diet? And then I will talk about the food production in India and the recommended daily intake for different foods of plant origin, and also we'll see the foods of animal origin and their production and the consumption pattern, how in India we eat foods of animal origin, and then we will see what is the lacunae and deficiency especially in India. And finally, we will see the role of food worldwide, how it affects the health and longevity as a comparison between different countries, the developed or affluent country and the less developed country, how it has affected the longevity. And finally, we will see how it is important in our health. First, let us understand what is food. Food is any substance consumed to provide nutritional support for an organism. In other words, it is the fuel that provides energy and building blocks for growth and maintenance of living beings. So basically, food has to provide the energy. We need energy to live. And second thing is building of body. So that we need protein. But in addition to that, we need many other nutrients like different vitamins and minerals that also mostly come from the food. And in case of protein, we need some important amino acids which we cannot make in our body. So it has to come from food. So that's why they are called essential amino acids. And the amount of presence of essential amino acids decides the quality of protein. That's why essentially it's anything that can be eaten or absorbed to sustain life and promote healthy functioning. So nowadays there is a new terminology called as functional food. So normal food means it gives the nutritional role, the energy and the protein basic requirement. But the functional food means in addition to nutritional role, it plays some important role in the physiological function of the body. So then it is called as functional food. So altogether, food is very important in our health and wellness and in longevity. So some more details we are going to see later. So first we will see the food security. It's a very common terminology nowadays, and there is a law in India now recently in 2011 they have passed, that is the National Food Security Act, which entails that all the people must have essential supply of the basic minimum food, that is the food security. So the meaning of food security is all people have access to sufficient, safe, appropriate and nutritious food. So it should be sufficient, appropriate and nutritious. So it has several aspects, like it should be nutritious, it should be safe, it should be accessible, in fact it should be affordable, that is the price also should be at a acceptable range or affordable range, and have a easy access to buy. Even if we have the affordability, it may not be accessible. So these are some of the details I am going to discuss again. So once again we will discuss about the food security. Food security in its simplest form is the state of having reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable healthy food. So it encompasses the availability, accessibility and affordability of food for all individuals at all times. So it should be easily available, accessible, and affordable means the price also should be at a reasonable range. So it is ensuring food security requires addressing physical availability, economic and physical access, and the utilization and stability of food resources. So it should have a stable source. We must ensure a stable source and a sustainable source. Then only we can ensure the food security. It should be physically available, economically affordable. So here briefly we will discuss about the intersection of food safety and food security. So we have already discussed about food security. Another important aspect is food safety. So food is not enough if it is available or affordable, it should be safe. So there are several foodborne hazards and health disorders can happen either due to the pathogens or other physical hazards or chemicals or toxic substances. So food should be free from all such things. So that is called food safety, in which there is a systematic approach to ensure the food safety starting from raw materials and processing and marketing. And in the food security aspect, as we have already discussed, it should be available easily and accessible and affordable in sustainable manner. So these two are highly linked together. Sometimes we may have enough food, but it may not be safe. Sometimes we may have enough food, but it may have a very high price. Sometimes it may be enough food, but it is of not so good quality. So these two things coming together for the proper food to be suitable for human health. So now we will discuss about the food and health. What is the relation of food and health and how food important for health. So in few more steps we will discuss. So first is food and health are inextricably linked. Food provides the nutrients necessary for our bodies to function, while a healthy diet is crucial for preventing disease and maintaining overall well-being. So food can provide the nutrients necessary, but in addition it has to play an important role for protecting our health and preventing the diseases to occur, for which the protein plays important role to give us immunity. So quality of food depends on the quality of protein, and that gives the proper protection for our health. So a balanced diet is very important, and that should be rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean protein. So finally, it supports the bodily function and reduces the risk of chronic illness. So it should have fruits and vegetables which provides a lot of vitamins and minerals, especially when raw things we eat. It provides the flavonoids and other phytochemicals, and the grains which provides energy and different fiber. So plant origin foods are very good source of fibers, that is very important. And then we need quality protein, both from plant and animal origin we can get protein, but animal origin proteins are of much higher quality because of the better proportion of amino acids or essential amino acids. Whereas in case of plant origin proteins, proteins may be there, but amino acids are not well balanced, so many amino acids may be deficient. That's why combination of all is important to have a balanced diet. Now we'll see little more details about the role of food in health. So first thing is food gives us nutrients, that is the essential nutrients like carbohydrate, protein and fat, which are in large quantity we need, and in the less quantity we need vitamins and minerals. All of these play crucial roles in energy production, growth, repair and bodily functions. But about the energy, the carbohydrate plays a most important role to provide energy, but whenever there is a shortage, the proteins and fats are used to provide the energy. So if our food is having sufficient protein and fat, that can also contribute to energy. But regarding the micronutrients like vitamins and minerals, so there comes the role of proper balancing. So many plant origin foods are good source of minerals and vitamins. Especially when we eat them raw, the vitamins are not affected or destroyed, so it's a good source. However, protein quality depends on the origin. As I already said, the plant origin protein are of less quality due to the improper balance of amino acids or deficiency of essential amino acids, whereas animal origin proteins are better balanced, more rich in essential amino acids. So qualitatively, animal origin proteins are better. Now another important function is disease prevention. So one is the metabolic diseases. Nowadays we have like diabetes, cancer, all these diseases. To some extent, heart diseases can be avoided by healthy diet, by proper balancing the fat and protein and carbohydrate intake. Similarly, the quality of protein has an important role in our immunity. So our immunity depends on the formation of immunoglobulins, for which we need amino acids, and that comes from the protein. And the lastly, physical and mental well-being. So proper nutrition contributes to our physical strength, healthy weight, and also the positive impact of our mood and mental health. Moreover, so many important amino acids comes from the protein, and that plays important role in our brain functioning, balancing and mood, etc. So quality protein or quality food also important for our mental health. Now we will go little more details about the role of food in health or key aspects of healthy eating, how the food plays important role in our health. First thing is variety. A balanced diet includes a variety of foods from all food groups, ensuring a wide range of nutrients. So we must have a balance of different varieties starting from fruits, vegetables, fats, quality proteins, plant origin, animal origin in proper balance. Now one important thing is fruits and vegetables. They are very good source of vitamins, minerals and antioxidants. As I have already told earlier, they are eaten raw, the fruits and vegetables, if it is taken as salad. So they are a very good source of polyphenols, flavonoids, antioxidants and minerals, and also they provide very good quality of other nutrients like fats and proteins and antioxidants. The next is about the grains. So grains are mainly source of carbohydrates, but they are also very good source of fiber. Fiber means those are indigestible carbohydrates. The complex carbohydrates, they can be soluble or insoluble. These fibers play a very important role in our gut. They are actually called as prebiotics. They help in growing the good quality bacteria or called microbiome. So fibers are very important. Then comes the protein, lean protein. So it can be from plant source and animal source, but plant source proteins are deficient in certain amino acids. That's why animal origin proteins are in high quality, especially egg proteins are the best. In addition, the fish and poultry source of protein is excellent. Even protein from red meat is not a problem because they are lean, they are less fat, so there is no much risk. The next is the healthy fats. It includes fats from sources like avocados and nuts and olive oil. They are very high quality and healthy. Similarly, there is a concern about the saturated fat, which mostly comes from red meat. But if we take nowadays the lean meat, then fat content is very less. Moreover, if it is taken in a less quantity, in a moderation, there is nothing much risk. But the major risk with the trans fats. The trans fats mostly come from the fried food and many bakery foods. So we should be concerned about bakery items and reduce the fats or fried foods. And lastly, the moderation. We need to have everything in balance. Most important is the sugar and oil and also the salt. The sugar, salt and oil, we should have a moderation. These are the major concern for modern diseases. Here we will see the plan of a healthy food plate. The fruits and vegetables should be about 40%. Fruits and vegetables of our total diet. It can be partly the raw vegetables or salads and partly cooked, and the fruits, and the cereals or carbohydrate can be up to 30%, which includes again some vegetables or potatoes and bread. But bread is a ready-made baked item. It is always good if we have freshly cooked cereals, because the highly processed food is better to minimize for our good health. Then regarding the protein source, we have meat, fish and other alternatives including eggs, poultry or red meat. Here we can have up to 15%, but it should be preferably lean and it should be of very good hygienic origin. Then we have the milk and dairy products. We can have 10 to 15%. Again, there is a concern about the fat, but nowadays most of the milk and dairy products are of low fat, so there is nothing much to worry if we keep it within 10%. And finally, there is the food containing fat and foods containing sugar. All such foods should be limited to 5 or 5 to 10%. So this is the healthy food plate considering all aspects, all groups of food. Now we will see about the food production in India and their suitable availability or sufficiency. The first is the food grains, including all kind of food grains like paddy, rice, wheat, etc. So this is around 300 million ton per year, and this is the second largest in the world, and as per the Indian population it is almost sufficient for all with enough availability. The next is fruits and vegetables including other horticultural crops, that is around 330, in a round figure 330 million ton. This is again sufficient for the Indian population. Then comes the foods of animal origin. The most important is the milk. As we all know, India is the largest producer of milk, the first rank in the world, and presently it is about 240 million ton. So if we see as per the population, the per capita availability of milk is about 400 gram per year, which is above the recommended level. However, the distribution is not enough. So there comes the food security. Though it is enough produced, but it is not accessible or equally distributed or affordable to many sections of the society. So that is not fulfilling the food security requirements. Then comes the fish. Though there is a good growth in last decade, it is about 17.5 million ton. Still it is far below the requirements. Though we are in the third at world ranking, but it is far below the requirement based on the huge population. Then comes the meat including poultry. So poultry makes almost 50% of the total meat, and that is around 10.5 million ton. Though it is fifth in rank, but it is very less as per the requirement. The per capita availability is around 10 kg per year per head, which is very low in comparison to the world. So we need to grow a lot in fish and meat production. And finally comes the eggs. The eggs, again, we are very good. We are in the second ranking in the world, which is around 138 billion in numbers. So this is quite sufficient for our requirement. So we need to understand here that food production alone does not ensure the food security. It should be easily available and accessible and affordable, as we have discussed. So a section of society may be comfortably able to buy or afford or access, whereas other section may not be. So that is not enough for food security. Now we will see the recommended dietary allowance or DA per head per day as per ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. That is the medical council which gives the recommendation for nutritional purpose. So they recommended separately for rural and urban people. For rural people, the energy recommended is 2155 kilocalorie, protein 48 gram and fat 28 gram. for each individual per day. Whereas in the urban India, it is 2090 kilocalorie, 50 gram and 26 gram. There is a slight variation because of the changes in the lifestyle and physical work, etc. So we in India have a act, that is National Food Security Act, NFSA, that mandates that we should ensure the adequate quantity of quality food at affordable prices for the vulnerable population of India. So this is what we have discussed at the beginning, the food security. It should be adequate quantity and of suitable quality at a affordable price. So that is one of the challenge for India to ensure for the large population. So far we have discussed about food, what is food security, and what role it plays in health. But now we will see how it is affecting the food habit and eating habit and the human health. The first thing is about the obesity. So obesity happens either due to overeating or due to unhealthy eating or improper eating. So those who are eating too much of carbohydrates, sugars, or too much of food or very little exercise, they will deposit fat and grow more and will have more body weight. Or sometime due to unhealthy eating, more sugar rich, more carbohydrate and no exercise, etc. So there are different aspects we will not discuss here, but this is one of the indicator of obesity, that is body mass index. This is calculated by the weight in kg and divided by the height in meter in square. So kg divided by meter square of the height, and it is normal at a range of around 25. If it is around 25, it is normal. So up to 25, and 18 and below it is considered as very thin. 18 and above and up to 25 it is normal. Above 25 up to 29.9 it is overweight, and when it is above 30 it is the actual obesity. Sometime equal to 25 and equal is overnutrition or obesity. That is not very important, it should be below 25. But this is all about excluding the women in pregnant condition or just after birth up to 22 months. So this will not apply. So this is as per the National Family and Health Survey 2015 and 16. So this is an important indicator about our eating habits, health and exercise, etc. The body mass index. Now briefly we will talk about malnutrition, because we are talking about food and health. So how we eat the food, that matters, especially in case of children, how the malnutrition is indicated. You can see in the left side, first picture is showing the normal. The next one where the weight is less in comparison to the height. So height is normal but weight is less, then it is called wasted. Whereas first one is showing the normal height and weight. The second one normal height but less weight. So that is due to acute malnutrition, very serious. The second is the height is less for a particular age. So then it is called stunted, and it is actually due to chronic malnutrition. Long term there is a improper food and improper nutrition, so leading to stunted growth, low height for a particular age. And the last one, it is underweight. So here the height is less in comparison to age, the weight is less in comparison to the age, that is called underweight, and that is due to acute and chronic malnutrition, both acute and chronic, leading to underweight. So this is a general understanding about the malnutrition in case of children. Now we will briefly discuss about micronutrient malnutrition. So the nutrients which are required in a very less quantity but very important, they are called micronutrient. Whereas some nutrients are required in a large quantity, they are called macronutrient like protein, carbohydrate, fat, etc. Whereas micronutrient mean many of the vitamins, minerals, etc. So an important form of malnutrition that lead to a low immunity, higher disease and lower productivity. So due to the deficiency of some of these micronutrient, there will be deficiency in immunity or leading to more disease and less productivity. So some of the common micronutrient malnutrition is like vitamin A deficiency. It's very common, leading to so many improper productivity and health. And another most common is iron deficiency. So iron deficiency, anemia is very common. And third is iodine deficiency. Iodine deficiency leads to a thyroid related problem and leading to goiter. Now about the anemia, which is a very important burden particularly in developing countries, and mostly it is the deficiency of hemoglobin in the red blood cells which carries the oxygen. And almost half of the anemia in developing countries is due to the deficiency of iron, and that deficiency mainly happens due to improper diet. And there comes the foods of animal origin. Plant origin, leaves, etc. are very rich source of iron. So either lot of vegetables and leaves should be eaten, or meat, etc. red meat should be eaten to solve this problem of iron deficiency anemia. So here we will see some more details observation about anemia. So the anemia is largely related to food and diet, and as per the National Family Health Survey, we can see some interesting fact. In case of adult men with 15 to 54 years and women 15 to 49 years is surveyed, and it is observed that 53% women are having anemia, whereas men 22%. So the anemia is more prevalent in case of women due to the menstrual bleeding. And in 2015-16, it is also found that 58% lactating and 50% pregnant women were anemic. When we see the men and women from rich, wealthy family, it is least anemic, whereas the men and women from poorest family are more anemic. Then people from rural area are more anemic than urban area. The illiterate people are more anemic than the literate or people educated above 12. So this indicates the improper food or diet. So rich people means they will reach more of animal products or meat or red meat. So that gives a better source of iron. Or the wealthy people has got a better access. In the rural region, again, the anemia is more maybe due to improper diet or health concern. Similarly, the less educated people are less aware about the health and balanced diet. So this indicates food plays important role, and also the foods of animal origin which may not be affordable to larger section leading to anemia. Here we can see the state-wise consumption pattern of meat and in comparison to vegetable or vegetarian diet. So we can see major part like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal are having a large population of meat eaters. So it is quite high in case of Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Telangana, Odisha, West Bengal, it is around 90 to 98%. In Northeast area, most of the states are having 96 to 98%, except the Assam. In case of Assam, it is around 80%. Whereas some western states like Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana, Maharashtra are having comparatively less meat eating habits. In terms of percentage, it is about 25, 30 or 40% only are meat eaters. So this is the food eating habit in terms of percent, but the quantity varies, how much meat is eaten. So in some parts people may be eating more often, more than once in a week or more than twice in a week, whereas in some part it is eaten once in a week. So this difference makes a lot of health related differences as a food. But those area where the meat is not eaten showing as green, but they will be eating large amount of milk and milk products. So much of the important nutrients are supplied through milk and dairy products like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana and parts of UP. So all this region, the milk and milk products consumption is very high, and the other vegetarian diets need to be taken in a proper variety. So vegetarian diet is okay if it is taken with a proper balance and large variety, then only we can get all the proper nutrients. Here is some details from a survey about the food habit or diet, and it has been observed that 80% of Indians are suffering from protein deficiency. That is one of the root cause for many disease, poor immunity and more infectious disease and other diseases. So there is a misconception or myths like more protein intake may lead to more body weight, which is wrong. And here it is reflected that the key sources of protein are milk and dairy, the vegetables, the legumes, pulses, egg, chicken and fish. And the recommended level of protein for human is about 1 gram per kg body weight. Around 1 gram, 0.8 to 1 gram protein is required, because protein plays very important role for repair, for tissue destruction. It need to repair, and for which the amino acids comes from the protein, and that is very important. And also amino acid is very important for building the immunity. So that's why the protein is very important, and for which the foods of animal origin has a major role, as I said, because all animal proteins are better quality because they are rich in more of the essential amino acids. Here we will discuss about the foods in comparison from plant origin and animal origin based on the protein quality. So earlier I have mentioned that proteins from plant origin is comparatively lesser in quality than the proteins from animal origin, mainly because of the availability of protein with digestibility and essential amino acids. I have mentioned earlier the plant origin foods are having protein but less in certain amino acids, so the balance of essential amino acid is poor, whereas in case of proteins of animal origin are having better balance of all the essential amino acids. So what is essential amino acid? Those amino acid which body cannot prepare, so it has to be supplied from outside from the food, and they are very much required for protein synthesis, so they are called as essential amino acids. Now these two sources of protein, the modern way to compare is the digestible indispensable amino acid score. This is a modern method to compare the quality of protein. Digestible, the protein should be digestible and indispensable. So the presence of protein alone is not important, how much it is digested and how much it helps in supplementing the essential amino acids. Based on that, there is a scoring. In the top we can see that bread 43, other some lentils 54, some meat product 112 and egg 130. So the lower figure we can see the left side foods of animal origin are ranging from 108 to 114, whereas in the right side foods of plant origin starting with rice and grains, bread, etc., they are having 29 to 59. So this clearly indicates the quality of protein and its role in human health. So here we can see a quantitative comparison between protein from vegetable source and non-vegetable source. So here the quantity of protein is fixed, for which how much of food we need to take to have the equal amount of protein. So here it is fixed in some experiment, analysis, that 18 gram protein if we need to consume chicken 85 gram, egg 3 eggs we need to consume, and in case of peanut butter with bread, we need to have 48 gram bread with 45 gram peanut butter to get 18 gram protein. And if we think of the beans, in this case a white bean, to get 18 gram protein we need to consume more than 300 gram. So more than 300 gram consuming beans is very rare and difficult. So this shows for quantity 85 gram chicken is easy to eat, 3 eggs is easy to eat, but consuming 300 grams of beans is little difficult. So this shows a quantitative difficulty to achieve the protein requirement. As I said earlier, we need to have 0.8 to 1 gram protein per kg. So on an average, a human need to take more than 50 gram of protein daily. Here we are seeing the meat eating in different countries, and it is very clear that meat eating is more in the developed countries. In the left side we can see highest is US 219, followed by Australia, Argentina, Israel, Brazil, New Zealand, Chile. Similarly, in the right side also we can see meat eating is more in Japan, Russia, US, Germany. So we can conclude here all the developed countries are eating more meat, and this has a relation with the health and longevity, which we are going to see in the next one. Here we can see the life expectancy at birth. So in case of India, now it is quite good because the last 50 years the eating habit has increased. We are eating much quality food. But if we go back during our independence, it was somewhere around 50 or below. Similarly, in other developed countries, we can see that the life expectancy is very high, and that is again correlated with the quality of food and higher consumption of animal protein or meat. Here we can see the life expectancy from 1950 to 2050. It's a United Nations population prospectus in 2017. We can see the lowest one in the African region, it is always low, and the top one blue, that is the North American region, which is highly developed, which is consuming more animal origin protein and having the higher life expectancy. So there is a clear correlation that life expectancy is more in developed countries or in the affluent countries because of the better food and better quality of protein, especially of animal origin. Here this graph is taken from a study and which clearly shows that the child mortality has decreased with the more consumption of meat per kg per person. It starts with 20 and going up to 160, so it has gone almost zero. Whereas the top graph, which is showing the life expectancy with meat eating, when the meat eating from 0 to increase to 140 or 160, the life expectancy has gone almost 85 years. So this shows clearly that life expectancy increases with more meat eating. So here is a special topic on foods for mental health. Nowadays there is a major concern about mental health, but in which food also has a very important role. From food we get so many important amino acids which plays an important role for our mental health. Here is a list of important items for better mental health. One is the dark chocolates, 3 to 5 ounce per week. The eggs, 5 to 7 eggs per week, or on an average 1 egg daily. The fermented dairy products are very good for mental health. It could be 3 to 5 servings per week. The meat, up to 3 servings per week. The seafood or fish, 2 to 4 servings per week. The fruits and vegetables, especially the colorful fruits and vegetables, 2 to 3 cups per day. And the nuts, beans and seeds. So they are half to 1 cup nuts or beans and 1 tablespoon of seeds per day. The seeds and nuts are very good, and the leafy vegetables 2 to 3 cups per day. So these are some of the important requirement of food for better human mental health in addition to other aspects like physical activities, proper diet, etc. Now we are at the end of today's lecture. So this topic I have discussed about the food and health, how the food plays important role in our health. I have explained about what is food security and food safety. Then we have discussed about the different nutrients briefly and its role in different aspect in health, and what kind of different ingredients in food plays a role in our health. We had a comparison about the production of plant origin food and animal origin food, and how they scientifically differ in our health, and what is the availability of different category of food of plant origin and animal origin. And we have seen how the food plays a role in our longevity, and how the consumption of animal origin food is differing with the developed countries and the less developed countries. We have seen that longevity is better with the proteins from animal origin, especially from meat. And also we have discussed about the role of food in our mental health. So this is a general lecture for everybody who are concerned about the health, the general public who are aware about the health, who understand about the different food and scientific aspect. I hope it will be of very good use for all those who are health concerned and about the food.